This woman's about to make a desperate attempt to escape from two convicted SA offenders, knowing it's her only chance to survive. This is Alison, and she's from South Africa. It's December 18th, 1994, and Alison's just trying to have a normal night. She hangs out with her friends, grabs some food, and around midnight, she heads home. She pulls up to her apartment, parks her car, and just as she's reaching for her bag, bam! Her door flies open, and a knife is at her throat. The douche holding the knife, his name is Franz. And Franz shoves Alison into the passenger seat, slides behind the wheel, and takes off. They drive for a bit before he picks up his buddy in crime, Kruger. And now Alison, she's trapped between two psychopaths. At this point, Alison knows she's screwed. These guys aren't just robbing her, they're talking about her like she's not even a person. So they take her out of the city, into an empty, desolate area. No houses, no lights, no one to hear her scream. And then the nightmare begins. Because they start to do something really bad that I can't even say, but it starts with an R. And they take turns doing this, laughing, making jokes, and when they're done, Franz and Kruger are talking to each other, deciding what they should do with Alison. And Alison, she's just frozen in fear. And they decide not to let her go. That's when Franz pulls out a knife and starts to stab Alison. Once, twice, 3 times. Over 30 stab wounds to her stomach. Alison is bleeding out, her intestines spilling onto the ground, and somehow she's still alive. But these monsters aren't done yet. Franz grabs her heads and slits her throat 16 times. The cuts are so deep that her head is barely attached to her body. At this point, the two guys high-five each other, toss her lifeless body into the bushes, and drive away, thinking they just got away with a perfect murder. But they were wrong. Because Alison is still breathing. She's lying there bleeding out, feeling her life slipping away. And she's just thinking to herself, I don't want them to get away with this. So she writes their names down on the ground, Franz and Kruger. And she knows their names because she heard them say it.
Stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
Then Alison just lays there and she's ready to die. And time goes on. And that's when she's like, wait a minute, I don't want to die. So this woman who's just been stabbed 30 times, had her throat sliced open and lost nearly all her blood, sits up. And then she grabs her own intestines, pushes them back into her body and starts crawling. Alison drags herself across the dirt towards the road, 1 inch at a time. Her neck is so badly cut that she has to hold her own head up just to keep her airway open. Every move is agony, but she refuses to stop. And then she sees headlights. A car is coming. She lifts one shaky arm and waves. And thankfully, the driver stops. And his name is Tian, a medical student. And he's immediately like, how's this girl alive? She's losing blood fast, her windpipe is nearly severed, and yet she's still awake. He helps put back her thyroid and helps keep her conscious. They call the ambulance, but the ambulance takes 2 hours. He keeps her conscious. She then gets to the hospital and somehow she makes it.
Oh my God! Wow!
Now here's where it gets wilder. Alison, she remembers everything. The names, the faces, the voices. So when the police show up, she identifies both men immediately. And guess what? Both Franz and Kruger get sentenced to life in prison. Most people would never recover from this. But Alison, she refuses to let this define her. She writes a best-selling book, I Have Life, becomes a worldwide speaker, and today, she's an inspiration to millions. Her story proves that even in the darkest moments, the human spirit is capable of incredible strength. Alison Botha shouldn't have survived, but she did. And she came back stronger than ever. So next time you're crying in your bed because your boyfriend dumped you, remember Alison Botha, a woman who literally survived the impossible.